Right. Welcome to the December 2023 ISC Hot Topic. We are delighted to be hosting many of the library staff for a Library and Beyond, building a culture of literacy here in Lower Merion. The Hot Topics are once a month in cooperation with the school district, every second Tuesday generally at 9:30. The next one is on the 9th of January, and it will be on multi-tiered systems of support. The ISC is a parent, guardian, volunteer organization that unites the 11 home and school associations in the district and acts as a go-between for parents and the community and the district administration. We have an extra person there. And the Hot Topics are a very unique opportunity for parents to hopefully increasingly be here in person and on Zoom and ask questions and learn more about what's going on in the district and have some direct contact with educators, administrators, and professional staff. And we are very happy to be hosting you today.
I want to mention that we'll just be recording the session and not the questions.
Yes, we will be recording the session, as you probably already heard, not the Q&A portion. If you have any questions, please keep them brief and very general without anyone's name, either teacher, administrator, or student, because we want to keep confidentiality here. With that, I will pass this on to Betsy Caldwell from Penn Valley. And if you guys have any questions on Zoom, please put them in the chat. And Lisa and I, or you can raise your hand, and Lisa and I will pass them on or ask them for you at the end of the program. So thank you very much.
Good morning, parents and administration and librarians. I'm Betsy Caldwell. I'm the librarian at Penn Valley. This is my 11th year at Penn Valley, and I'm really excited for us to be able to share about what we're offering the Lower Merion schools and community. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 12 librarians here today, and Rachel Nichols from Black Rock, and we have Kelly McDermott from Bala Kinwood, and Tara Torella McClanahan from Belmont Hills, and Carrie Smith from Lower Merion High School, and Katie Moss from Welsh Valley, and Caitlin Jaxheimer from Harriton. So never seems a team more invested in what's going on in Lower Merion. We are fortunate to meet as a K-12 group several times during the year to really have a cohesive program. So of course, we're all following the standards set by the state and nation. We also try to use best practices, of course, and local curricula. We're always fine-tuning with new books and materials. But that's not the exciting part. It's more exciting to hear about what we all do from each day. So, but another thing is just to realize that we are staffed with all certified librarians at every school, which is just a wonderful thing. It really increases test scores, as you can see here, which I know we're not all completely sold with test scores, but it's the reality of things. So it's very exciting to have a certified librarian at each school. And not only a certified librarian, we all have teaching assistants, and many of our library assistants, and many of them are certified as well. So sometimes you're getting, double experience in the library. So next, Tara is going to talk to you a little bit more about what happens day to day in our libraries and what a day in the life looks like in the elementary school. Sure.
So my name is Tara Trilla McClanahan, which is a mouthful. My students call me Mrs. TM, and I'm the librarian at Belmont Hills Elementary School, and I'm also at Penn Wynn one day a week on Thursdays. And we're going to take a little journey through the elementary school level of a library. Like Betsy said, we all work K through 12 to make sure that our kids have an experience that is building upon the experiences that start in kindergarten all the way up through grade 12. So my first question is, how many of you remember elementary school library? Hopefully you were lucky enough to have an elementary school library experience. Okay, positive memories, perhaps, maybe a mixed bag. So I know in my own experience, even my own parents, you know, some of the stereotypes of librarians pop up. The shusher, the little old lady. My father used to refer to me as his daughter that was the school marm. When I tell people that I'm an elementary school librarian, their ideas are, you know, oh, that's so great. You get to read all day. And are you still teaching the card catalog? How about Dewey? How's Dewey hanging out? So people still have these preconceived notions, maybe some stereotypes that are hanging on, but I can assure you our everyday at the elementary level is much different. So a lot of you parents may recognize Greg Heffley, the wimpy kid. So the diary of an elementary school kiddo in the library. So every kiddo at elementary school has some common experiences. Every child grades K through 4 does come into the library for a weekly library lesson. Kindergartners for 30 minutes. Everyone else gets 45 minutes a week in the library with their certified librarian teaching a lesson. That lesson usually is about, you know, literature appreciation, information, assessment, you know, information literacy, digital literacy, digital citizenship. And then we have some opportunities for them to explore the library space for independent book choice. And then also rotating STEM centers in the library space. So every child has the opportunity for independent book selection during their library class time, but the libraries are also open for students to stop in at other points during the week. They finish early and they want to, you know, switch out for the next book in a series, or if the book that they picked wasn't quite the way they were hoping it would be, they can come and stop down and choose something different throughout the week. Librarians offer readers advisory during the week to help those students find a book that is just right for them. We talk about strategies for choosing just right books at the lowest levels. We're talking about the 5-finger rule, choosing books that, you know, fit them as a reader, that aren't too difficult and aren't too easy. Students, as I said again, also have the opportunity to collaborate and communicate with other kiddos in class through rotating STEAM stations in the library space. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. And then we're really big on building on those STEM skills that are being taught in the STEM special as well. Opportunities for students to have the ability to communicate their needs to us. A lot of times we're not sure what we want to read when we walk into the library space. And so having those opportunities to hash things out with the librarian or with a friend, you know, what do you recommend? What should I read next? So the opportunities for self-advocacy. I don't know what I want to read next, or, you know, I've been reading this graphic novel. My mom really wants me to read a chapter book next. What can I read that's going to, you know, point in that direction and make both me and my mom happy? So here are some facts and stats about our elementary school collections. So the number of physical books held at the elementary level, 89,813. That's actually in the library space, books you can pick up and hold in your hand. Last year, we checked out over 127,000 books to our students at the elementary level. And just this past month of November, we all ran our stats. Just for November at the elementary level, we were checking out over 13,000 books. So you can see our book checkout is very robust at the elementary level because we do get to see everybody on a fixed schedule. That really certainly helps numbers. If somebody can't find something that they love in our space, or maybe we've only got books 1 through 4 in a series they really love, we also have a very robust interlibrary loan system in the district, which is wonderful. So that really helps to build on all of our collections as well. We don't just have physical books, we also have books available through Mac and Via. So that's a collection of ebooks and audiobooks. And at the elementary level, our collection, we have over 24,000 books, almost 25,000 books. And last year, the views for students to go on to Mac and Via, we were at over 45,000 books. The American Library Association recommends that students have at least 15 or 20 books per pupil in a library collection. And our schools in Lower Merion far exceed that. We're between like 30 to 40 books per student, which is pretty awesome. So how do we go about choosing the books and the materials that we have? So our local collections are built to support student and staff needs, as well as curricular needs, but also what our students and staff want. So we are choosing books, high quality materials that align with standards and interests. And we're using journals like the School Library Journal and other resources to help us choose the cream of the crop, something that's really going to stand the test of time and also serve the needs of our students and staff, and our curricular needs as well. We are continually evaluating our collections to see if they are fulfilling those needs. We like to say that our libraries aren't just a place to house books, it's a living, breathing thing. And so we're constantly going through a process of evaluating our resources and also weeding through our resources to make sure that we can get rid of something that might contain misinformation. Betsy and I were joking yesterday, often a couple of times we've walked into library collections that we've just become in charge of, and we're pulling books off the shelf that say that Pluto is still a planet because a book that was published in the 90s might still have that. So making sure that our collections are up to date and reflecting information that is current. And we want to make sure that when we're choosing books and materials that we want to have things that are exciting to nurture that community of learners and readers within our district. We try to remove anything that's outdated from our collections, but also something that might be a little ratty, not look that great. So those Wimpy Kid books, those Dogman books that are super popular at the elementary level, we might be weeding them, but then replacing them with a like title or the same title again. And in developing our collections, we really try to make sure that we're developing collections that act as mirrors, windows, and doors, so that our students can see themselves in the books that we're collecting, that they can get a view into someone else's world or a door to help them escape into a world of imagination. Evaluating information is a huge part of what we do during our library lessons, those structured lessons that we have each week. And we're helping our students evaluate written information that they may be seeing in the library space. And this also aligns pretty directly with our digital citizenship lessons that we cover during the school year as well. We have a digital presence in our lives constantly. And for us, we're getting used to that. But our kiddos, they're digital natives, right? So they've had a device in their hands from the time they were little. And understanding what they're seeing online may not always be true. And so we work pretty hard to make sure that they're assessing information based on the reliability of the source and also the validity of the source. And we help them do that by using and curating resources such as databases like PebbleGo, and using online encyclopedias like the World Book, and also helping them with basic web searches. And at the elementary level, we really love Sweet Search. Just for funsies this morning, I did a little search for Taylor Swift. Huge on a lot of people's minds right now, including my own children. So I searched up, as the kids say, searched up Taylor Swift on Google and got over 9 billion hits. Ridiculous, right? So the way that Google sorts the resources and the results that come back, the first thing that pops up are all of her tabloid photos and the click here to purchase this song, Whereas in Sweet Search, it filters out all of that information, makes it more easy for the students to select something that might help them find more information about Taylor Swift. So it's looking for credible sources, highlighting primary sources, and excluding any spam sites from the results. So that's where we're starting the evaluating information. We're teaching basic research skills, making a plan, doing the plan, going back over your plan, making sure you've gotten what you need. We talk about copyright law, source citation, plagiarism, as well as news media and digital literacy. And that takes us to digital citizenship, which Betsy's going to help us with.
So I know that Mrs. Goldberg was here last month talking about digital citizenship. So I apologize if I repeat, but I'm just going to highlight a few things that I think are really important that we do. So the children in elementary school have 3 guaranteed experiences that really build on throughout the years in elementary school for digital citizenship. It connects to the school expectations. You know, we talk about being safe, respectful, and responsible. And a lot of times our lessons start out with, like, what does that look like in the classroom? What does that look like out in the in your yard? And then connect it with the digital world, and that it really is the same, and they need to think about it in the same way. I think we all really try to make it so that they can see the importance of it, but relate to it really. So we always, the lessons always have to do with the 6 characters that are up there. And on the left is head. Use your head when you're online. And so think about it. What would head mean? Use your head.
Thanks.
Yeah, stop and think about it, right? And use your legs when you're online. And that's stand up to bullying. Use your guts when you're online.
Trust your instinct.
Trust your instincts, exactly. Yeah, and use your heart when you're online.
Be kind.
Yeah, be kind, compassion, right? And use your arms when you're online.
Easy.
Balance,
Balance.
media balance, balancing your time. And use your feet when you're online. You're leaving a digital footprint everywhere you go. So be sensitive to that. So the kids really, these are the dig sits, and that's it. They have these really cute, catchy videos and songs that go along with it. And it's really a great program. And Common Sense Media, just so you know, is also for parents. She took talk about that. Yeah. And I go on there to look up movies before I take my kids to the movies, and books before my teen looks at it to know if it's, she's ready for it, that kind of thing. So it's really, the kids get excited about it, especially because you show these little videos, they're all like, a minute, 2 minutes long. Can we watch it again? So it's catchy and it's fun, but the amount of conversations, the rich conversations we have with these lessons are just amazing. For instance, this week I'm doing my media choices with 4th grade. And these kids know that they're supposed to make good choices, right? They know they're supposed to, but how do you make that practical for them to really be thinking about it? Because I always say to the kids, I'm not going home with you to tell you whether that's right or wrong on your device. That's at your point. You have to make those good, responsible decisions. And here's a great framework for you to be able to do that. And so that lesson is about arms with balance, my media choices. And it sets it up with what you're doing, when you're doing it, and how much you're doing it. And it gives these scenarios. Like, I woke up in the morning and I watched cat videos on my mom's phone for about 20 minutes before school. And then the kids have to decide, is that a good choice? Is that a bad choice? And they really have some great things to say. Well, it's okay as long as you're ready for school. And other ones say, no, I always get up too late. That would not be good in my house. And that's what we talk about too, is that your choices are different depending on who you are and how, so really rich discussions. We usually try to also send home something, a little paper, so that parents are aware of what's going on or what we've discussed, because I say, prove to your parents that you really know how to make good media choices now, or wow, that's a discussion you could have at home about how much time you spend on your device and how much time your parents spend on their devices, and have those conversations about their feelings. We also always have a great literature tie-in usually with these lessons too, like the couch potato was what I used with this lesson, where the potato sits on the couch and is on his device all the time and needs to realize that there is an outside world. So that is what's going on with digital citizenship. Now, we've also collaborated with the school counselors, and it was put on the school counselors that we need to fill a requirement by the state to have some type of career education starting in 3rd grade. And so the counselors, we saw the need and we helped.
Sorry, it just seems young for me.
Oh, no, but
It's
but the way we do it, listen, this is great. This is great. No, this is good. Okay.
It was just the state.
I know.
Yeah, no, not you. You I know. Like I love all of you.
Yeah.
You're
So,
actually insane.
Sorry.
Sorry.
So this man named Holland has a theory of career choice. And basically it says that people prefer jobs where they can be around others like them. Okay. So you're not just teaching like this is a doctor, this is a fireman. You're thinking about it like with personality traits and thinking about who you are as a person. So this program that we're using called Cuter Galaxy goes through these 6 different lessons, they're planets. And it really just makes them think about who they are as a person, and also gives examples about what types of careers fit that personality. So it's just kind of a nice introduction to thinking about a career.
And I see the colors kind of overlap, so like you could be more than one. And I'm hoping that's what that sort of implies.
Yes. Yeah, because of course nothing is one size fits all, right? The program is engaging and the kids do enjoy that as well. So, and we also, of course, being the librarians, find a lot of books to go along with this throughout the year, especially when we're thinking about biographies during Black History Month or Asian Pacific Islander Month. But always thinking about how they came to their career. It may not have started that way. It might have, been a challenge, So having all of those real life experiences through these books helps the kids see different paths. So let's see. And then what's next? Oh, STEAM collaboration. This has been really fun. So after we teach our lessons, we have the book checkout time. And when for years, I would how do you fill that time when you've got kids all over the place? And so this STEAM connection, the STEAM collaboration with the STEAM teachers is just wonderful. It gets the kids super engaged at the tables, and then you're helping one group of kids at a time when you check out. So you can really, tailor the searching for each student instead of having the whole class running around the room. And so we are enriching what the STEM teachers are doing. We're also doing literature tie-ins, STEM as well. This book, Dreaming Up, is great for the little ones. It has the one side of the page is a child building with some kind of blocks or Legos or anything. And then on the right side, it has a famous piece of architecture so that they see that. So a lot of our lessons or STEM centers would be like, it's either connected to a story or, for instance, this week I have I can build a bridge, I can build a town, I can build a house. with blocks out so that they can have ideas and work together. The amount of communication that goes on during those times with the kids, I'm giving them suggestions, but sometimes they're like, oh, you know what, we're going to make this though today, and they just get this whole idea together, and it's just very engaging and rewarding, and it's neat to see them work together so nicely. Okay. So, reading Olympics. How many of you have had your children in reading Olympics? Oh, look, all of you. Okay, so you kind of know, but I'll explain it anyway. Reading Olympics is a Montgomery County Intermediate Unit program that all of the libraries participate in. We are the facilitators for it, I guess you'd say. And it's a voluntary program for fourth and up. The students that choose to join are asked to read a set of books, and they're very carefully selected books that are all encompassing, all different reading levels, all different interests, different formats, so that really any student could join. The students are gathered into teams, and they need to read the whole list of books within that team. And then the night of the competition, it's like a game show. The kids have to ask simple comprehension questions for each book. They're not really competing against another team, because the goal of the evening is to score as many points as you can on your team. And everybody comes home with a ribbon, which is wonderful. They just really enjoy it. Another great opportunity for the 4 C's, the communication, the collaboration, sense of community, critical thinking. Really wonderful. And now back to Tara. She's going to talk to us about some of the other fun things we do in the library to engage.
So the elementary library space, we really work hard to curate not only our collections, but also the space itself to make it a welcoming place for our students, our staff, our families when they're in the building. And so we create displays within the library space, and also like the library at Belmont Hills. We've decorated the outside doors for, the winter. We create these displays to spark interest, create the welcoming space, promote reading, and then also to reflect our larger community. We know that, we joke sometimes that we're like the ultimate salespeople. Like when we stand a book up on display or we read a book, if we touch a book, we bless the book. And so when kiddos see that, they get super jazzed and they want to be a part of that. They want to share that story. And then they want to share that story with their friends. So creating those displays within the library space and seeing something up and just knowing that it's there is enough to create excitement within the library, which is wonderful. It's also one of those things when you're evaluating your collection, you're looking, you say, this guy hasn't left the shelf in a little while. Let me stand it up on the top of the shelf. It's amazing what happens once you put a book on display. A lot of times just seeing it is like, oh, I didn't know I wanted to know about computer systems. I didn't know I wanted to know about cooking. So we really do a lot. Our displays are constantly changing, and any opportunity we have to display student work related to a book that we've read. There's a wonderful book, Drawn Together, that talks about a communication barrier between a grandfather and his grandson. And they connect through drawing. And so a lot of us have done a really fun activity where they do a partner drawing activity, but they can't talk. And so we've displayed that work within the library space. So it's really wonderful to see. Each of our schools, we also do different programs throughout the year, tying in with different events and holidays. So some of the highlights that aren't necessarily part of the curriculum, but things that we do to make the library, an important part of our everyday. We've got a pumpkin decorating contest around Halloween time, where you disguise a book or disguise a pumpkin like a book, dress like a book character day, spirit days for Read Across America, where you're reading a book about a specific theme and dress up like that theme during that day. We've got Read and Ride, one of those centers, and that one is in the Keenwood Library. And then also student publishing, giving students the opportunity to be published themselves within the library and have those books checked out of their library. We also have schools that are practicing mindfulness within the library space, a student news desk, where they're doing the morning announcements in a more dynamic way on camera, celebrating all student successes from across grade levels and ability levels. We working with the Hour of Code just this past week that was celebrated in classrooms, but also in library spaces. And we also participate in a mock Caldecott program where we're, picking out a number of selected books and sharing those with the students. And they're working to decide which book do they think should win the Caldecott. And it's always very exciting to see when the Caldecott Award is announced. The Caldecott is awarded annually to the best illustrated children's book. Does our book align with the ALA choices? And do they think that their book should have won? So they really get into that. They really enjoy special programs like that. Another special thing that librarians help to coordinate are author visits. We thank home and school associations for helping us pay for those visits many times, because the opportunity for students to connect with a real life author, to hear their story, their creative process, and the things that they've gone through, the obstacles that they have hurdled to finally find success. Many of them, most of them, talk about persistence and really that kind of stick with itness. And they also a lot of reading. A number of the elementary schools, we had Elise Broach just about a month ago. And when she came to Belmont Hill, she talked about a book that she just loved by Audrey Wood, King Bodgood in the Bathtub. And one of my students just yesterday, where's that book about the guy who eats and does all the things in the bathtub? And I was like, wait a second, did I share that book? Oh no, you're thinking of the book that Elise Broach talked about. So those connections, like they hang on to those things, and it creates excitement for reading. And so once that kiddo found that book, then already there were 3 kids at the desk with my assistant. Can I put a hold on that book when she's finished with it? Can I have it next? So those author visits, they really matter. And then just a few words from some of our elementary school friends. I love books because while I read my books, I can use my imagination and creativity, and I can picture what I read in my mind. 2 friends working at their STEM station here. It's always fun to go to the library every morning to get new books. And the library is amazing. We learn how to be respectful and caring, and we have more than 20,000 books. They love to know how many books are in the room with them. They love it. I'm getting better at reading, and at first I did not like books as much as I do now. We have to find that gateway books for a lot of these kids. And sometimes that gateway book might be Captain Underpants or something that we don't really love, but it always gets better. And what I like about library is getting to choose my books. That choice piece is really important at the elementary level. And with that, we'll move on to middle school.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Kelly McDermott, and I'm the librarian at Bala Cynwyd. And I'm here today with my colleagues, Rachel Nichols from Black Rock and Katie Miles from Welsh Valley. And I'm going to talk about a few of the same things that we discussed at elementary school, because there are certain parts of our job that are done at all levels and also at public libraries and academic libraries. I would like to point out, though, that for most librarians, it's not a job, it's a vocation. And when we look at folks like this, I think this really speaks to the work that we do. There's no such thing as a kid who hates reading. There are kids who love reading and the kids who are reading the wrong books. James Patterson, adult author, also writes terrific middle school books. But when I look at a quote like this, I'm very grateful to my elementary school colleagues, because most of the kids we get love reading. But you should be very confident in that when we do get a child who's reading the wrong books, your middle school librarians are giving them the reading full court press to make sure that by the time they get to Carrie and Caitlin at the high school, that they love books as much as we all do. Great. So middle school libraries, as librarians, we feel it's really important that we promote individual student growth. A lot of our students are doing reading goals. We prioritize matching the right literacy materials with the right people. Build lifelong reading habits and research practices, and provide ongoing instructional support, not just to our students, but we are there for our staff also. We are there to help them find the right materials so that they can help their students. Oops, okay. Okay, so how do we do this? We do this in a lot of different ways at middle school, and I'm going to talk to you about the classes we teach, our instructional partnerships, research curation, and lastly, a little bit about collection development, which we touched upon with elementary school. So we teach classes. I think a lot of people are surprised by the amount of classes that are being taught at the middle school level. I have a lot of friends who are like, do you read all day? I spend my whole day watching other people select books and teaching them how to find books. So we have two types of classes in the library. Our fixed classes, which we have a grade 5 library special now, which is wonderful. So at the same time, every day of the week, there are grade 5 library specials going on during periods 7 and 8 at all 3 middle schools. And then in addition to that, we have classes who come to the library on a regular basis, including life skills, Excel now, reading classes, and every single student at Bala Cynwyd, Welsh Valley, and Black Rock have a dedicated library time. There's always time for every class. In grade 5, we are working on library orientation, where to find resources, a lot on how to find appropriate texts and expectations of genres, writing book reviews, and then of course our information literacy, choosing and using databases, developing effective keyword searches and search terms, plagiarism. Obviously we scaffold plagiarism and ethical use of information, from everything from attribution, moving right up to 8th grade to get ready students for high school, where kids can do full citations in MLA format. And then introduction to bias and fake news, and again, the evaluation of materials. I want to talk a little bit about our instructional partnerships, because I think this is really the core of the middle school library program. This is the collaboration and planning of librarians with content area teachers for whatever academic endeavors are happening in their classrooms, and how we can be part of it and really build upon those information literacy skills that students will take with them to high school. So we're building on what we learned in elementary, are enhancing it in middle school, and then they're fine-tuning it in high school so that students are ready to move on to college or life, right? Because these are skills we need forever. Things that we do during this time that I think really speak to our areas of expertise. We might teach primary and secondary sources, but then emphasize on some of our databases that offer those sources, like the historical newspaper database from ProQuest. We do a lot with internet searching and maybe refining our Google searches, more effective Google searching, because we all know everybody Googles. I mean, how many people Googled before they came to this meeting this morning, like most of us? We do advanced database searching using Boolean operators and limiting searches, which is very popular and very important. And for some reason, middle school kids think it's a game and try to get down to, one result. I'm like, that's not really the goal, but it's a lot of fun. So we're really trying to really kind of give kids these skills that they're going to need in their education in high school and college. I want to show you just a few examples. I mean, there's so many that it was really hard to narrow them down. We also use this time to help kids find books and have independent library use. So you'll see a lot of things like book tasting is an extremely popular activity with menus and tablecloths and, lots of books and, sometimes flowers on the table. This is a 6th grade Save the Library project simulation, which was a library teacher collaboration. We collaborate with all of the content areas, even some that you might not expect. Library and art has done collaborations. Library and Science and Challenge for April in Environmental Month. Students were studying landfills and what's in them and what kind of things degrade at what rate, and how can we prevent landfills and landfills, and how can we reuse, repurpose, and recycle. So we had students who did research, and then they synthesized this by making recycling paper. They made new paper. We had kids who made self-watering plants out of an old coat rack that they dragged in from home. Like, so we don't do it without parents, by the way, and minivans. And then, you know, there was art that was made from recycled materials. So that was a really exciting time in libraries. We have writing workshops, library club events at schools, banned books week, very, very popular. Lego Build to Give. Then I'm really excited about this one. Middle school will be having a student and staff book club on how to be an anti-racist from an ISC grant. Like, how wonderful is that? So again, you know, parents are a very big part of everything that we do in this district. And then, of course, our partnerships are not just with the teachers in our own building, but with each other. So we have fourth grade outreach. Middle school librarians do fourth grade outreach and orientation so that kids will know what to expect when they come to our libraries at middle school. And that's very important, and I think well received. The kids seem to really like it. We have done collaborations with FCS and library and life skills, communications, library and math collaboration, and of course, whole school events for the African American Read-In. Every student participates and every staff member. So that really is kind of the ultimate partnership when everybody is involved. I think resource curation is important to discuss. When we collaborate with these teachers and these students, they are using our materials, and how we curate them and present the materials to them makes a difference. So I want to just discuss a few of our platforms with you. We use for our books the platform Destiny, which is a product of a company called Follett. I'm going to talk about Follett on the next slide. And so we put together curated lists of books that kids can then go, it pops up on their home screen when they go to Destiny. And so if they are doing a topic here, or if their teacher asks, we can put those right on Destiny. And the same thing for Mac and Via. We can curate the materials so they click on the link. I'm in now, and we're doing Indigenous American research. I can click on that. These are the ebooks that are and audiobooks that are most appropriate for me for this project. Two other examples there is we have a teacher ask for mystery audiobooks for differentiated instruction, and classic books that have been made into graphic novels. So those were some recent examples. We also use Schoology as a platform for curation. And these are two examples. Dr. Lee in 7th grade was doing a pro-con research, and that was a research guide that was made that then was posted on Schoology that will show kids how to find good online sources. The Wikipedia link, if you're wondering, is articles on what's good and what's bad about Wikipedia. Library databases that they can use and get to, and also some directions on how to develop good keyword searches if the kids are struggling. And then here's one that is similar for Indigenous American research. So those are really important, and students appreciate them and teachers appreciate them. Apparently I have lost my ability to click. Okay, and then of course we can share this. Sure. One of the things that we do is we push out newsletters and flyers. So if there are new people in our building, I think among our staff, people appreciate us, know what we can offer, and use us frequently. But when we do have new staff in the building, you know, long-term subs, new people, we want them to be aware of everything that we can do for them in terms of literacy, collaboration, research and information, problem-based learning, and resources. And then, of course, we like to push newsletters out also to our staff that they then post in their classrooms, on their Schoologies, physically print many of them that will tell kids what are the newest reading incentives in our libraries and what are our newest display things that are happening in school. Now, this is a big one. And some people may be like, oh, this is going to be a snooze collection development because it sounds really boring, but it's actually one of the more exciting things that we do as librarians. And I did feel that I would be remiss if I didn't talk about it a little bit. Collection development is behind the scenes library work. I don't have any fun, cute pictures of kids showing student work for this one. And I don't have a picture of me doing this either, but it's something that we all do. And collection development is important because it is thoughtful, it's purposeful, it drives a huge part of our job, and it's data-based. Like, we base all of our decisions for collection development on data. And if you're not completely, sure of the definition of collection development, it's basically how we acquire materials and how we get rid of them. And there are policies on that guide our work. There are also entire classes in school on how to do this when you decide you want to become a school librarian. And also, we also rely on our professional experiences for collection development. One of my favorite things is when kids say, how do you get the books to the library, Miss McDermott? Do you like drive to Barnes and Noble and just go crazy? And it always makes me laugh because, that would be kind of fun. So I thought about that when I thought, how am I going to present this to adults? And this is an example of the type of data that we rely on. We can run a report through Follett Destiny, and that report will break down our collection for us by age, by diversity, and social emotional learning. And I only gave you a snapshot here because if I gave you the entire report, we would probably need about another 35 to 40 slides. But it actually goes through your collection by topic, by Dewey Decimal Category, and shows you the age of each book, the average age, and then how many books you have in your collection in that particular area that reflect diversity and SEL. So it's a very powerful tool that we utilize. Once we run these reports, the next step really is then each librarian, based on their collection, has to sit down and develop a plan on how they're going to use this report, right, to build their collection. And you can see your strengths, and you can also see the areas that you want to strengthen. Once you've done that, the next step really is probably really one of the fun parts of the job is talking about books and learning about books. We talk to students, we talk to teachers, we talk to each other, we go to conferences, we sign up for webinars by publishers, right? All of these wonderful ways where we get exposed to all of the new books and books that we think will strengthen our collection. But once we've done that, it's not like going to Barnes and Noble and Kelly just buys whatever she thinks is cool and fits this, right? We have policies in place, and we have professional tools that we use then to hone our selections. And those tools come from School Library Journal, Book List, Hornbook, Voya from the American Library Association. And we make sure that the books we are purchasing for our library are not biased, that they represent a variety of topics and viewpoints, that we have books on a variety, on a topic from a variety of levels of readability and levels of sophistication. Because, for example, in middle school, we're dealing with kids as young as 10 and as old as 14. So we have to take all of this into consideration when we are developing our collections, right? I think deacquisition is a lot more straightforward, like Tara said. We don't want a book in the library that says someday we may have a woman on the Supreme Court. Like that's pretty obvious. Do you want to check that book out? Do you want your kids to check that book out? No. Right. So I think that's pretty obvious, but I really thought that we should speak to collection development because it does impact, and all of the wonderful things that you saw that happen at the elementary school and the things that Katie are going to show you in a few minutes about, reading promotions. The things that we do in classes, our instructional partnerships, the impact that we have on students would not be as impactful or as great if we didn't have the very best materials available to show them and to give to them and to move them along in reading. So this really, I know the slide's probably the most boring of the ones we're going to show you today, but I did think it was very important. Before I turn the presentation over to Katie, I would like to say that I think that libraries are like the field of dreams. You guys have seen the movie, read the book, right? If you build it, they will come. I feel very strongly that that is the purpose of collection development. If you build it, they will come. If we can give kids books with the mirrors and windows, books where they see themselves, book where they see others, they will come and they will keep coming. So I'm going to turn it over to Katie, who's going to wow and impress you. And she's going to be so exciting. You're going to want to get your time machine and go back to 7th grade.
Really, that's too much pressure. I'm Katie. I'm the librarian at Welsh Valley. So I think it's a nice segue to talk about the collection. And then once you move from the collection, right, we're talking about these robust and diverse resources we can offer kids. We partner that with programming. So at the middle level, we have an explicit structure kind of carved out at the end of the day, intervention and enrichment programming. And I think librarians, our role is very entrepreneurial, and a lot of what we do in that vein is around the enrichment part of that. So we offer fixed sessions where students use Edficiency, which is the platform that they use to sign up for sessions. They also often get like requested by teachers. So kids sign up to see us and they'll do more of like a one-to-one readers advisory. We can browse with them just for like a longer time, more informal setting. We do really specific like student programming. We have a few different cultural calendar resources that we use to help us inform some DEI offerings. So we create like over here in this right sort of part of the screen, you'll see like a sports spotlight and trivia. And that was sort of born out of something that we talked about with a group of 6th grade teachers who were like, I'm having a really difficult time engaging a group of students that they say they want to come to the library. And then when they get there, they're leaving with nothing. And so we're like, okay, what sort of interest? So we do a genre interest survey, lots of sports comes back. And so we played games, we checked out books, we gave away free pretzels, and we upped our search numbers that way. So like, that's just like a tiny example. When we get new releases, we celebrate them. We celebrated American Indian and Alaska Native Heritage Month. So anything we can do I&E block, specifically around the enrichment part of that, that's where we sort of get to be really creative and get to be responsive to our clientele. Our buildings serve that 5th to 8th grade, which is really, if you think about it, like 10-year-olds to 14-year-olds, and that developmentally is such a vast range of interests, of need, of our libraries look really different, I think, in terms of all the sections that we serve. It's the first time I think students have a lot of agency because they often visit our library, not necessarily during fixed times of the day. They'll often come in the morning during homeroom, during their lunches. At the end of the day, they'll sign up to browse. So we really try to capitalize on that enrichment time. Some other things we do on that I&E time, book clubs. All our 3 middle schools also participate in reading Olympics as well. Sometimes there's meetings during that I&E block, previewing new books, supporting research. Like what's nice is we get to be sort of another professional in the building that may not be their content area teacher, but that can support them in writing or readers advisories. So kind of just another person. Displays, like this is just another, again, our role is entrepreneurial, right? Like we're trying to hook kids in. Kelly spoke a little bit about like the newsletter piece. We are always trying to like put out good PR about the library. And part of that is creating like engaging displays, sending communications to students. This one just was, I stuck some books in there and then you reached your hand in and you got a horror or a mystery book. And yeah, that was the best it ever looked because they tore it apart a little bit, but they also helped put it back together, but it was fun. So we're always trying to do work like that. learning as a library hub, again, that shift from elementary to a secondary library. I feel like students are really learning how to become patrons, and hopefully like that will be a lifelong sort of skill. And so there's so much that happens in that library beyond circulation that we just try to highlight. Other professionals in our building use those. Student workspaces, there's always like curation too of different projects. I know in one of the buildings we were talking about how students worked on creating like beautiful displays of national parks, and then we created a display in the library, and anybody in the building was welcome to sort of walk through that display, and it was interactive too, so they could give feedback to the students who did the presentation. So any ways in which we can sort of showcase the library as sort of a central learning hub, and a place that kids want to be, that's always our goal. We are always looking to promote reading in all ways. And here's kind of just like a short smattering of visits. I know Tara talked a little bit about author visits. And I think we do also that at the middle level. We're in the throes of planning right now. Oh, I loved that. I know one of the other buildings does like the top pick of the day. Tara talked about like, it's amazing what happens when you put a book on display. And so Kelly had shared that like when she talks about just like the spotlighted book of the day, like boom, that goes away right away. So I think it is just like highlighting and spotlighting things that on the school announcements, like you might not traditionally think of the library being like a part of that, but I think we really take intentional steps to call out sort of all the good things that we're doing. The character pumpkin contest continues into the middle level. I'm new to Welsh Valley, so Kelly and Rachel were sharing with me about Read a Latte and character sweaters, which are just like incentivized reading, sort of like contest is the wrong word. They're just sort of like reading opportunities and experiences that we create for kids. And then a few other ones. Library ambassadors is something new that we're thinking about, just other ways to have kids be part of championing the library experience, and sort of finding ways for them to work a little bit behind the scenes with us as well. Some more beautiful photos, author visits, a couple more examples of some specific things that we do. And again, like because we have that flexible structure, it allows us to really be responsive to what students are interested in and be thoughtful about ways in which we can engage them further. And I think it also builds a lot on those instructional partnerships that we're already doing, sort of moving through the building. Couple quick stats for us. I thought it was funny. I like listening to this presentation is allowing me an opportunity to learn a little bit more about what was happening at the elementary level. Middle school students are also obsessed with the number of books in the collection. Like that's something that comes up often. So we have close to 40,000 across our buildings. We have circulated almost 16,000 in the last couple of months. We are also using Mackin. I like Mackin a lot too, just as an introduction for students who are telling us like that audiobook piece, like, is that okay? Is that still reading? And I think it's like, as they're navigating sort of the leveling up of their academic sort of like the challenge and the rigor, it's figuring out ways for them to feel like they see themselves as readers as well. And sometimes an audiobook, like it's not cheating. We're like, this is a great bridge. Of course we could do that. So I think it's just also like normalizing that you're a reader in all different capacities. And then I just wanted to end with a couple of like words from our stakeholders. Kind of, this was a little, our audio is on. Did we plug in our audio? Wow. Yeah. Sorry.
I want to be a library ambassador because I love everything about the library, the books, the people, and even libraries. Because we do really fun things and learn more about books. I loved, especially fantasy. And I would like to help recommend really good books to other people. I loved the Halloween display, and to see story thing was really fun. I would love to be part of making more things like that. I hope that you consider making me a library ambassador.
So this was really cute. And they did like 1-minute video submissions about why they wanted to champion the library. And originally we talked about like pulling like a small group. Usually we like open up everything, but I was like, to manage this. And then I sent them an email. I was like, they were all so good. There were like 17 of them. I was like, everybody's in. We're going to figure out a way to sort of have everybody participate, because there are a lot of aspects of our program that we feel confident we can kind of find a place for everybody. A few more that I loved. Something I like about the library is the teachers who work there. They are helpful and teach us a lot and are kind and always start a good conversation. Something that like I share with others too is like we have 1,000 micro interactions a day. And I think that is different than a lot of other professionals within the building. So our explicit goal is to always make those micro interactions positive, and clearly the student felt that way. What I like about the library is that I always feel safe here. I can work or read or do whatever without people peeking over my shoulder. It's my happy place. I do think there's a lot of like independence and agency when they come to the library in a way that does differ from the elementary level. And then just books, and even more books. So that is sort of our middle level program. And I want to turn it over to Caitlin and Kelly at the high school. Carrie, sorry.
Sorry, I'm waiting to talk. We decided we're gonna try this way. All right, so we're also gonna try to go very quickly. We know it's time. I took the Cooter Galaxy survey, and I'm gonna be an auctioneer for today, so we're gonna try to get you guys quickly as quickly as we can. So, oh, I think it's good. Okay. All right, so really quickly, we're going to talk about our library databases, because one of our jobs, as well as library book curation, is also database curation. So one of our things is that, oh, I'm sorry, I should have introduced us too. Carrie Smith, LM, I'm Caitlin Jacksheimer, I'm at Harrington. Our number one goal in the library is instruction, and it is obviously our main purpose. So these are the databases that we've worked together to continually add to every single year. So we've added a lot of these this year. We have an array of databases. Many of these, as you see, are high school focused. We then also have academic databases, ones that they will actually continue to see once they go on to a 2 or 4 year college. Our goal throughout this process is to show them all of these databases, but also teach them how to effectively search as they get to high school. All of our database and research lessons are designed to teach our students to be critical thinkers and evaluators of information intake. Students learn news and media literacy as a way to look for confirmation bias, spot fake news, and more. We also prepare lessons to specifically meet the needs of grade levels and groups. As students get older, we prepare them for the tools they need to start in the workforce and ensure they are beyond proficient in the databases and academic searches they will continue to use in 2 and 4 year colleges and universities. These at our schools are 2 different avenues that we use. These are our 2 separate websites, which are different, but they serve the same purpose. We both have access to the same databases, and we can curate and tailor these to the specific projects we have. So if you see on this one and right here, student projects, if you click there, it expands and it's all of the projects that are currently happening. And then those pages can be tailored to that specific assignment. Over here, this one is the same way. So I had a health class in the other day, and if you click on health fair, it's in order the databases that we have that should be most effective for them. And then depending on the student, I'm like, ooh, music therapy, you're going to want to start here. So depending on what they're working on, we can tailor these pages to get them as a single point of access to the databases that they need. Okay, these are more library resources that we have. All of your students at high school have access to the New York Times. We have a New York Times Pass that can also give them access on their phone. They have an app. We also have Noodle Tools, which is a citation tool. It collects and cites all of their sources. In all of our databases, there's a quick cite button. It brings their source quickly into Noodle Tools. It creates a perfectly formatted citation, and it also creates a stable URL for them to access the article again. We also have other things like Mac and Via, which is already talked about, so we won't touch on that. We have Destiny Discover, which is the way that they look through our books. We have also have a really strong relationship with the Lower Merion Public Library. We very much promote them getting library cards, having that library number. Once they have that number, they're able to access Hoopla and Libby, both apps on their phone or on their computer, to access a number of ebooks and audiobooks that way. So we've talked a little bit about Mackin. Is anything else from the high school level we need to touch on?
So with the public library system, oftentimes we will help students who have library cards. Of course, we encourage students to get their own library card from the public library. But sometimes if we don't have a title, or if it's all of our copies are checked out, we'll then search the public library system for them. and then show them, these are where the books are, and Lower Merion Library System will transport the books to the library that's closest and most convenient for the student. So we also help them check out books through the public library.
So one of our main goals is also to connect with colleagues all over the building. We like to run a lot of academic lessons across content areas. So you'll see in here, I made sure to highlight a biology lesson, because it's not probably where you would think you would see us. Often I would say probably our most frequent teachers are history and English. However, we see every teacher, and that's a big part of our position in the high school, is forming those relationships with colleagues across the building, and also word of mouth. So I ended up with health because one of the health teachers walks with a social studies teacher after school, and they chatted, and then the next day we had a new customer, so it worked out great. So one of our biggest goals is to create these innovative collaborative lessons with teachers. Because we have that flexible schedule, we're able to meet with them at any given time, have multiple days. Sometimes we'll meet with them over the 4-day set, which is awesome. And so we're able to see all of their classes over that time period. We also support our students that are at the BOTEC school. We'll support them with our nursing database, our health databases, depending on their courses. We help them find the resources that they need. Lastly, our newest instructional partnerships. Sorry, I forgot. This is just some pictures of our instructional partnerships that are a little bit outside of the box. So here you'll see a U.S. government. The students they had to convince the other students in their class of their social issue, of their viewpoint. So they created shirts and buttons to promote their side of the social issue. Up here, it looks like this was global citizenship. They had to create bags and items using sustainability. So we try to touch base with all sorts of classes throughout the building and really utilize our RAM space and the LM maker space to be able to create those innovative lessons. Lastly, our newest instructional goal is to teach our students about AI. Not just how to use AI to copy and paste the paper, but actually to use it to teach the ethical and inclusive use of AI. We do teach them how to use AI as a tool, and it's the process over the product. So teaching them, and we also teach them how to cite AI. So if there's a chance when you are able to use it as a tool, how would you cite that in your paper? Lastly, we specifically have discussions with classes. When is it appropriate? When is it ethical to use it for your paper? And when is it not? And those discussions have actually been really awesome. The kids have been great about seeing if it's a creative writing paper, can I get it to give me my idea? Well, no, it's your creative writing, right? And when is it appropriate? We've also used it for analyzing the sassiness of an email. How many peppers is it? How spicy was your email to your teacher that you wrote last night? So we've used it in all different ways, which is really nice. And so we've taught them when to use it and also when to use it in their own lives, which has been really nice. Yeah, I've had a few that were like, what should I get my mom for Hanukkah? It's great. So it's really nice.
All right, library experiences. So lunch and learn is the time students have every day. It's an hour where they are to eat lunch and then do something else. So that could be going to a teacher for help, making up a test, or spending time with friends. And so the library is a very popular place all day long, but especially during lunch hour. And there are many different things they can do in the library. We are here to help them find books, like the perfect book for them, or something that they're looking for. Sometimes they come in with knowing what they want or an idea of what they want, and sometimes they're just like, I'm told to get something, I don't know. And so, but they leave excited. They leave very excited to have a new book. Sometimes this is a great opportunity for us to show movies in the library. So it could be either like part of library programming, but it could also be like a teacher, maybe they showed a film in class and they want to finish up and everyone can come during lunch and learn. So then we use the library for that as well. Okay. Flexible collaboration space. So we partner with teachers to do many different things. So obviously teach lessons, but also to exhibit student work. And students are invited to come into the library throughout the day to check out these exhibits to get help from us. And so here are some examples of different things we've done, and I'll touch more on that later. So here's some photos from National African American Author Read-In. So basically, we partnered with classes like global studies classes, and the students researched using library databases to find content and different excerpts from books, poetry, things like that. And then they shared them in the presentation. And it was really nice because this is giving them an example, like a practice of like finding something and then creating a presentation and then presenting it not just in class, but during lunch and learn where anyone can watch. Our Women's History Month Gallery Walk. This is also really popular in March. So this past year, we partnered with another social studies class where students would come in, they would research a person, find information using library resources and the internet, and then use our makerspace to create these lovely displays. Okay, library activities. So we want to thank the ISD for funding our mini grant, which has provided us with puzzles and games and things like that that our students are enjoying. Author visits. I know we talked about this at the other levels. So we've had both virtual and in-person author visits and writers workshops, and we're currently working on building our next author visit program. Another thing is that we do work with local bookstores, Children's Book World and Main Point Books, to support our book collection and also to help connect us with authors. Book curation. So we use the different resources that were already mentioned, and we also work with students and staff to make sure that our collection is one that supports students, supports the curriculum, okay, and provides them with books that they're interested in. So book groups and reading Olympics. One thing that I think is really fun is we help students lead their own book groups. And so we support them at every level of that process. And so they often read multiple books throughout the year. And they bring it in their own people, like other friends, and then other book groups are created. It's just really fun. It's a wonderful thing. Promoting reading, we have different events like our new books reception, book talks, and different literature appreciation lessons. And often we'll partner with teachers to bring classes in to check out books, whether it's for independent reading or a book to supplement what they're doing in class. And just like yesterday, I actually took cards of books to a class, because we're doing testing in the library, and it worked out better for the teacher anyway. And so it was great to be able to bring a card of books, check out many books to students, and then return them, the cards to the library. So that was a lot of fun. Displays, so I know we talked about this already, but it's just really important to highlight different books because, you know, it does make a difference. Like when you see it sitting on a table or like right when you walk in, as opposed to like searching for it where you only see the spine on the shelf. So we think it's a lot of fun to change our displays, like usually monthly. We'll use the different themes or we'll highlight different genres or topics.
All right, so this is really quick, we'll finish up. So all I wanted to talk about here was that us as librarians, part of what we do is create a welcoming environment for every single person, students, staff, a bus driver who needs to laminate his schedule, everyone who walks through our doors. So our goal here is really to just create a sense of community for all of our students. We want our students to see themselves and their peers in our books. We want them to feel comfortable being themselves when they come. And at the high school level, we do have a lot more flexibility on schedule, but we're able to really help our kids in any facet that they need it. Whether you're a NSD student who needs a logo put onto their robot, or you are a student looking to make a holiday gift for your mom because you forgot and you need to make a bracelet, or you want to make buttons for your seniors before senior night, anything that you need during that time. I swear I hear Miss Jax more than I hear mom at home, and I have 3 small children. So we do wear a lot of hats, all of us at every grade level, and we love every single one of them. And we really do. I just want to end by saying, I hope you felt it. We all really love our jobs, and we love the connection that we can make to students and the impact that hopefully we have. We are constantly reading. This is an article that I just found, so it is very informal. I apologize that this was their 4 areas, and they are ones for us. And I think a big one at the high school is a spot that our kids can let their guard down, so they can feel comfortable a big part of our space because it is flexible and kids are constantly in and out on their frees or study halls, or then we have a class, and it's giving them a space that they can always come to, feel comfortable, whether it's find a book or make something special or have a wellness activity and play a game or a puzzle from you all wonderful people. It is a wonderful job that we all have, and we're very happy that you're here to listen to us today.
Thank all of you. I am biased, probably the most biased parent in the system. I am so amazed by all of the work you do, and I hope that we have lots of parents who learned more today and will watch your presentation online as well, because the amount that you pack into one day, from just welcoming every kid to being creative to finding new books, is amazing. Thank you so much for the work that you do. It shows, really, it does.